Welcome to Garage Gym Athlete Ask Me Anything. It's pretty simple. I'll be answering questions from the thousands of athletes that follow our daily programming. If you have a question or topic you want submitted, go to garagegymathlete.com/AMA. Let's get started. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. Jerred Moon here with Joe Courtney. What's up, Joe?
How are you, Jerred?
Dude, living the dream every single day.
I'd ask what's going on in your life today, but that's for Mondays. So if you want to find out what there is, go listen to Monday episodes.
Yeah, listen to one of the Monday episodes and you'll know what's going on in my life. Today, the only thing going on in my life is answering a question. And this is from Steven. He says, or asks, what's the benefit of deadlifting barefoot? Do you recommend wrist wraps for lifting? Powerlifting friends are looking at me weird for not owning some. When should we use knee sleeves? So we got 3 questions in one. We could have saved these, could have sparsed them out, right? So let's start with, we'll just go deadlifting barefoot first. We'll break it down question by question. What is the benefit of deadlifting barefoot? Do you have anything to say on this, Joe?
Well, it takes out the factor of the shoes. If you're wearing the wrong shoes, whether they have too much cushioning, roll your ankle to one side, if they're not firmly on enough, it'll just make you more ground aware and be able to ground your feet into the ground. That's basically, it could just be a shoe thing for you, or like you just don't have to worry about bringing the proper shoes for deadlifting, or you can be in Chucks. So many people, I would never work out in Chucks, but I've deadlifted in Chucks before.
Yeah. There's not necessarily like this big benefit, right? It's just that flat ground, right? Your feet are in contact with the ground. There's no, the only real negative in lifting, and I think that's all there is with footwear, there's only the wrong thing to do. There's not necessarily the right thing to do. And the wrong thing to do is to wear like really cushy running shoes, that have an elevated heel or something like that. They're just not very stable. And if you ever lift in cushy shoes, you just know. You can just you just feel it. You're like, that's not right. That's not good. You don't feel as stable. You press into your shoes really well, which isn't a good thing. And so it just you lose some stability when you're lifting the wrong shoes. So when you're barefoot, that is as in contact and flat footed you can be on the ground when deadlifting. So that's the only benefit there. Like Joe said, you could also lift in Chuck Taylors or something like that. I deadlift and squat barefoot all the time. And it's primarily out of laziness. I don't feel like changing shoes a bunch of times. And so like if there's something else in the workout where I need to put on running shoes, I'll never squat in running shoes, right? So I will just squat barefoot and then I will put on my running shoes or whatever shoes I need for the rest of the workout. So that's how I operate. And you get used to it. The only downside with barefoot is if you're like moving a lot of plates around and stuff and you break your foot with a plate, that would hurt or break a toe, something like that. So not a ton of benefit, but it does help you be a little bit more stable on the ground. All right. So next question. Do you recommend wrist wraps for lifting? Joe, do you recommend lifting wrist wraps for lifting? Is he talking about the ones that like strap to the barbell, or is he talking about the ones that like you would wear when like you're pressing?
I'm pretty sure it'll be the ones around the barbell, those wraps, because they're not, because they do kind of go. Yeah, I mean, because wrist wraps, if you're actually breaking your wrist, that doesn't do anything for you.
I mean, some people have to talk about wrist wraps and wrist straps. So,
well, I do see people wearing wrist wraps doing things that don't need any wrist support at all. So
makes you feel cool.
Yeah, the more gear, the better, I guess. Yes. So wrist wraps, no. Maybe when pressing, but not deadlift. Wrist straps or barbell straps, where it goes around the barbell, that's a different story. For these, also, your powerlifting friends are powerlifters. We're not powerlifters. So if you're doing our programming and you're not powerlifting, then that's the easy answer, because I'm not a powerlifter. You can just say that. But with wrist straps, I think, straps. It's just after you get up to a certain amount of weight, that just becomes a limiting factor. But because we're more functional, I want to be able to hold what I'm lifting versus putting strain, lifting up with my, like, your arms are just levers on the they're just there for the deadlifts. So it's just helping to hang on to it. But yeah, it's just takes away one of the limiting factors. But I think I still would like to grab the barbell to hold it and do that for as long as I can. Um, Same with the alternating and non alt and forward whatever deadlift. I would rather do double overhand versus alternating grip because I can feel more stable. And there was one of the gyms I used to go to a long time ago would they did not allow alternating grips, or if you did alternating grips, you had to switch grips every time at the bottom, so it completely kill your momentum. Um, but with straps, it is something
A
that
weird
I've
rule.
yeah, well, that's whatever. Um, it is straps I've thought about just recently putting them on because I am only doing double overhand, and that does seem to be somewhat of a limiting factor. And I would like to go heavier, but I don't really care that much. I'd rather build up my grip strength for that and power through it, and you hook grip versus getting straps. But I'm not going for super high numbers. If I can't grip it, then I'm not deadlifting it. This is kind of my answer. It's not a detriment. It's only if you really wanted to go heavier for those maxes. But I think on day to day normal deadlifting, like between 60 and 85%, you should be able to grip it on your own because you're not powerlifting.
Yeah, a lot of the same for me. So yeah, technically wraps, the ones that just tighten around your wrist, are for pressing. And I know that's not what he meant if we're only talking about the deadlift, but just to be clear, wrist wraps are really helpful. And I actually would recommend those for people who have any sort of wrist issue. I've had my wrists are fine now, but in the past I've injured my wrists before, and those are a lifesaver for being able to continue to do pressing work without any detriment, without any problems. So those are great for pressing. Now, wrist straps, which wrap around your wrist, and then the strap kind of hangs off, and then you wrap that around the barbell so you can lift more weight. Um, I never use those. I don't touch them. I had some, I don't know, when I first started lifting at the very beginning of like 15 plus years ago, I think I used some, but I haven't used them since. I just don't really like them. And so what I recommend, I like what Joe said. Like I want to deadlift with a double overhand grip until I can't. That way I'm really pushing myself to grip the weight and to increase my grip strength. But at the same time, this can become it's like a limiting factor for you, which can be good and bad, right? I think if there's a deadlift in a workout like an IWT, maybe stick to weights that you can only double overhand, that we're not going too heavy. Then once you get heavier, like when I go up to 1 rep max or anywhere close, I am not doing double overhand. I can't. I won't be able to grab it. I do mixed grip at that point. Now there's a lot. Mixed grip can be controversial, and a big reason being is because if you start to flex your bicep um, on the hand that's not overhand, you can tear your bicep. You can rupture your bicep, and that is why it's controversial. And that's a big deal. I take that risk as someone who's done a lot of mixed grip lifting. I'm pretty good at just letting my arms be dead weight. I don't flex my bicep at all when I'm doing it. So I've learned how to do it very carefully. So that's not to say that everyone should do mixed grip instead of straps. Like if you are maxing out, maybe you could use some straps or you could do mixed grip, but don't ever let it be at the detriment of rounding your back or any other form errors that can happen when your grip is no longer the issue. It's going to be turned into something else. So just be very mindful of everything that we said, from letting grip be the limiting factor for certain things and what you should do on your 1 rep max. There's just a lot of things to take into account there. But yeah, I don't use them. I also don't really recommend them because we're not maxing out that often, and that's really the only time I think that you should be either doing mixed grip or um, straps.
Yeah.
All right, now the last one is, when should we use knee sleeves? I don't know if knee sleeves are that helpful for deadlifting, but I think he might just be asking in general now. I think knee sleeves are great. The compression helps with the reduction in inflammation. The SBD knee sleeves have been studied quite a bit. We covered a study on them. I also just read another study that came out a few weeks ago where it tried to put like a number on how many pounds could a knee sleeves help or add to your squat, and came out to being around 5 kilograms, so just over 10 pounds, 12 pounds, something like that, right? So that's a good amount. It's not like an absurd amount, but it could help add some weight to your squats. I wear them pretty much all the time now, just because I'm squatting frequently. It adds a lot of stability. It makes your knees feel very stable when lifting, and does keep them in really good positions. And so I really enjoy knee sleeves now. I never used to wear them, and now I do almost every time I squat. And I really, really do like them. So I would say, yeah, I would still go. I also don't put them on. It's kind of like a belt. Like I put my knee sleeves on, which is harder with pants. It was easier with shorts. I wear pants in the gym now. I have to get completely naked in the garage to put them on. But anyway, when I put on the knee sleeves, it's not until I start to get heavy. So I still like to do some lighter loads. I don't like any sort of, you know, gear that I just have to have, right? Like I just hate that idea. And so I don't put them on until it starts to get a little bit heavier, and really want my knees to be stable and in check. So then I'll put them on. But lighter loads, I'm still going no knee sleeves.
I have never worn knee sleeves, not once. Never owned a pair.
You should try it.
Yeah, I don't feel like I'm at that volume to where I need to, but maybe one day. Yeah, I think for our training, you don't really need them unless you're adding a little bit of more volume to it, or if you need some extra knee stability. Yeah, not on BCT. If you need a little extra stability, then yeah, it's almost like a belt, but for your knees, and only do that when you get up to heavy. Yeah.
Sleeves, a belt for your knees.
Yeah, there you go. Tagline.
Yeah. I was going to say one other thing on this. Here's just an anecdotal thing for me in knee sleeves. So last year, last year, 2020 now, so never mind. It goes 2019-ish to into 2020. I had a knee problem, and it was most likely from doing Murph all the damn time, because I had done a lot of that, and I think the volume was getting to me. So my knee was not in a good condition, and then so I couldn't run. There were just a lot of problems with having that knee problem. And then I decided to do the BCT track, and I'm a little worried about it because I'm like, I have this knee issue. We'll see what happens on the BCT track, because I could end up with a knee injury. If that happens again, I'll kind of just be out altogether, because running and squatting, if you have a bum knee, you're kind of screwed. So that's a big reason I implemented the knee sleeves, and I have not had a single knee issue, tweak, problem. And that's with like significantly increasing run volume, squat volume. My knees have been in, knock on wood, basically perfect condition. That's not to say other parts of my body haven't significantly broken down because of BCT, but my knees are good. And so that could very well be due to the knee sleeves.
So BCT, Murph Project are your two excuses to wear knee sleeves.
There you go. I've never worn. No, I have that. I've worn the smaller ones. If I wore the bigger SBD knee sleeves that I have now for Murph, it would probably make air squats feel like a joke, because they they're pretty rigid, right? Like that would be a fun. That'd be a fun Murph, actually.
World record, yeah. There we go. Oh man, these are a breeze.
I wear two pair. Like it's like hard to bend down. Hard to squat. I got to force it down instead of up.
Then you have to like cut them off to go run. You wouldn't be able to run in those.
No.
Penguin run.
Yeah, straight-legged run. All right, we've gone too far. This is Ask Me Anything. If you guys have any other questions, go to garagegymathlete.com/AMA and ask your question. We would really appreciate it. And thank you to all those who have asked a question. Now, if you're on the YouTube channel, go ahead and like this video, subscribe, leave us a comment. And if you are on your favorite podcast player, thank you so much for listening and being a subscriber. If you haven't subscribed, you did find us some weird way through search or whatever, go ahead and subscribe. We put out a lot of information. I'm sure you'll like some of it, if not most of it. And then the last thing for you to do there, leave a 5-star review and positive comment on your favorite podcast player, as it helps the show find more people. But I do appreciate each and every single person listening. So thank you for listening or watching. hope you enjoyed today's Ask Me Anything episode. So one more time, if you want to submit a question, topic, or idea, you can do so at garagegymathlete.com/AMA. And hey, while you're there, if you haven't already, sign up for Garage Gym Athlete membership. We are the best community and programming on the internet. I dare you to try and prove me wrong.